Hello, it is currently 2:05 a.m. I just listened to the new Don Toliver album. It was pretty good. I liked it a lot. And now at 2:05 a.m., I'll be listening to this random album that I've never heard of before because Brad Taste in Music told me to. Now, Bradley, if you're watching, first of all, thank you. And second of all, I really hope I like this album. From what you said, it's apparently pretty crazy. So I guess let's just get right into it. I've never done a reaction before because I don't have no fancy equipment. I'm going to be playing it out of the TV and in my headset. All right. First track on Girl with Basket of Fruit is Girl with Basket of Fruit. Let's get into it. It's weird already. So far, it sounds like the lyrics are just a bunch of incoherent nonsense, but I do like the beat behind it. It's very interesting. I do like that, but it comes across as very awkward because of how distorted the vocals are. But I can see myself liking it, and I'm just gonna keep rolling with it. No path straight through a 4-minute song of this. She sits on bicycle and floats in space. She's in love with the angel of no taxi anywhere. Where the hell's electric that goes so makes her days with nobody. The clouds of joke. By the pistol from the jar in his confidence pocket. Ryan Peppers building up on the rings round his fingers. Her boot gets so floppy, she uses it as a band to wave away his singing VO. Now rubbing it off with a brick, just for his panettone. Every frog hops right up into her butthole. Every frog eats a single butthole flea on its way in. She brown box squeezes them all until frogs. A flock of wreck takes on Fazwick's peepees in a sleeping face and pointlessly tries to fuck a blue sky. At the which execution they all hope to be called up. For an opening track, I still have no idea what is going on. I feel like this album, so far, only one track in to be fair, is trying to be as crazy as possible in the worst way possible. And that's because the lyrics and the vocals on that track were horrible. I don't have the lyrics pulled up, but I could hear stuff about frogs going into buttholes. I don't know what was going on there, but it just comes across as a little bit too quirky and that they're trying a bit too hard. However, the instrumental was just the right amount of crazy. I have no complaints about the instrumental, but if the whole album has lyrics and vocals like that, I'm not going to like it. It's trying way too hard to be quirky and funny when it just comes across as weird, especially when the instrumental is weird. Although, I thought it was pretty good. That being said, second track. It comes out as a joke, much like that first track. Sorry. Okay. Short life in the ribs. It comes out as a joke. I got burned the onion race into a joke. The great fish I deformed it on. Comes out a great deformed joke. A pig wearing a maid's apron and cap. Putting a tomato on rubber wheels. It looks at its pocket watch and points a roof. You better to me. Okay. I like this part. Is it over? Okay. Okay. It comes across as a joke. I thought at first that this track was going to be extremely boring. As crazy as this album was described, it didn't feel like there was a lot going on. It felt very empty and repetitive for the first 2/3 of the song. But that little breakdown at the end, I really enjoyed. However, the album overall, I still have no idea what's going on. I can't tell if there's a story element to this or not. I don't know if it matters. I still have no idea what direction this album is heading in. So far, it's alright. I think it has the potential to get better. So, we'll move on to track number 3. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. But track number 3.
1 and 2 and 3. To listen like something you would collect, and poison seems like something you would take. In the offensive ways of all faith.
This song so far is very eerie. And it's another song that's above 4 minutes, which I don't mind. But so far, nothing much has happened, much like the last track. And I'm assuming that there's going to be some big breakdown at the end. And once again, with the vocals, they sound very. I don't know what the appeal for the vocals are. I just don't. But it does kind of create a vibe, I guess. I guess the vibe they were going for is kind of eerie, like I said earlier. And it's working very well. We'll see how the rest of the song plays out.
Good night, good night. Don't look, sweet old friend. Don't look, little sister. Don't answer, knock, knock, knock. Don't answer, only answer for your fear of God. Don't answer for the nothings else. Ye, oh night, oh night, oh night. Get away, ye, oh night. Get off, get back, get off. Oh night. It is in fact baby magnificent. In the bosoms of Abraham. I will behead all the saints. I will behead all the stars. Let lightning strike where it will. Coconuts, bananas, flowering vines in revolt. Let there be peace, and let it begin with thee. I am not ready, and I cannot accept. I am not ready, and I cannot accept. I am not ready, and I cannot accept.
it's still going.
Chunks of your forearm, chunks of your scalp, chunks of your haunch, now in a dumpster or in a sandwich. Your hairpiece perched upon your head as if dropped from the ceiling by accident. Never not had worry, and now never not blonde. Oh, 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 oh. The pin-pon is something unruinable. A meal, a mushroom, a cockapoo is sparkling out of control.
Okay. Track 3 in the books. Much like the first track, I have no idea what the lyrics are doing. I don't know what it's trying to do. The only way I can describe it is a mental episode over an instrumental. That's the best way I can describe it. Once again, I don't get the appeal behind it. It sounds like something Kurt Cobain would have made as a solo project. Maybe that's a bad example. But I thought that the beginning part of this song, the little flute, the flute instrumental, I thought was pretty soothing until the vocals came in and completely ruined the vibe. Started randomly naming off fruits or something. I'm not sure if I totally got the whole picture there, but that I don't know what the purpose behind that song is. So far this album has been very all over the place, instrumental wise. The lyrically, it has all been the same, just jumbled garbage. I'm not sure if there's a hidden meaning behind this that I'm missing, but so far I am just not getting it. However, we move. Track 4. Ice Cream Truck. Only 2.5 minutes, thankfully.
This guy in a bottle and a baby on a boob. All bad plans and nobody move. I wasn't gonna hurt you. I have heard that one before. I wasn't gonna hurt you. I said that one before. Flip-flops turn gray, the thick twist along the wrong way. Puff. Passed out, and will always be passed about. As it was in the beginning, she's still passed out. You paid heavily! A bar named Snook, a jerk shoved in the gut. And again, no clothes. A scleroform to pat her back. Again, no clothes. A carpet sample to pat her back. Dunk! How is it? Tonight. You look like a baby and rubber dudes. Smile, donut. Smile, damn it. Smile and then don't. Smile and then don't.
Somehow, the vocals on this track are even more distorted than the first three songs combined. I couldn't make out much of anything that he was saying. Maybe that's the purpose. The beat, instrumental, whatever you want to call it, was very all over the place, and I would not say in a good way. There felt like there was no progression of the notes at all, and it felt it. The best way I can describe it is the that one theory that a monkey on a typewriter will eventually create the entire works of Shakespeare. You know what I'm talking about? This sounds like a monkey strumming on a guitar until it eventually writes any comprehensible riff, and it's just failing completely. There was no progression at all. It just sounded like random strumming. Once again, the vocals don't help at all. I'm tired of saying negative things, so I will say that it is certainly interesting and creative, and I could just be missing something. So we're going to keep it moving. Track 5. Pumpkin Attack on Mommy and Daddy. Okay. 5 minutes. Let's get into it. It already seems like there's a bit more structure to this. Okay. Here we go. Okay. For the first time on this album so far, I can confidently say that I enjoyed this. So far, we're 3 minutes and 15 seconds into the song, and this has been a great song so far. It almost feels weird to say that, considering how this album has gone so far. But I think that is because this song has more structure. There's more going on, instrumentally, and there's less incoherent, like distorted rambling going on in the background. So I'm enjoying this track so far. Hopefully, the last 2 minutes don't ruin it. We'll see.
If you wanted to be a human being, if you wanted to be a human being, if you wanted to be a human being, you have to get Carly? You're not my mom.
Okay. Wow. That was actually a really good song. Okay. I think I know why I like this much better than the other tracks. Um, an artist that I really like called Underscores also does this in her music, where she takes vocal elements, sometimes strange vocal elements, like in the track Locals off of her newest album, Wall Socket, which was my highest rated album of the year 2023. She uses odd vocal elements into the beat, and that makes the beat better. I feel like the vocal elements on this track do the same here. Talking about the three-legged pig or whatever, I felt like that really blended in with the instrumental instead of sticking out like a sore thumb like the vocals on the past tracks. It feels like it's much more structured. It really fits. Everything meshes together well. On the first 4 tracks, I believe, this was not the case. The vocals really clashed with the instrumental, and everything felt out of order. On this track, it was much more structured, and it was way better. I don't know how else to describe it. The vocals meshed well with the instrumental. It has a basic song structure, who can imagine? And it works. This song just works. Phenomenal. Probably a 9 for me. This song. This gives me hope that the rest of this album can be worthwhile. So, I don't know if I have any more to say about it, but just know I really like this song. Let's go. Track number 6, I think. The Wrong Thing. Let's go.
Charismatic, attract rabbit. Carpet beetle, boo-boo grub. Rice weevil, flatworm, mealybug feels cricket, grab, caterpillar, tensile, utopia.
I can't bear what they say about. Just as I say that the vocals on the last track were working really well with the song, the vocals from the first 4 tracks return. I'm going to keep an open mind and we'll see where this goes. Baptize a goat, sacrifice a goat. Shove it all off me as deep as it will go. Soft healed head and a moth besieged. A life loved with you. The sheep will wait for flicking away. The sheep will thrive for flicks to come. No going back to where we came from.
They spent eating and only eating without ease and without reflection. Apples, artichokes, almonds, acorns, asparagus, avocados, apricots.
Through the sand, and yet not dull. A life alone with you. Simply high on the throne. Oh, use and squeeze gold. Sit by me and do Is that the end? It is. Okay. I have more positive things to say. I think that this song did a great job in creating a vibe. a very eerie vibe at that. And the initial problems that I had with the vocals in the beginning of this album um, are lessened on this track. It felt like it fit much better. While I do think that they make the song worse, the vocals make the song much worse. But I could feel myself getting into it a little bit. Um, the vibe was definitely there, and I think what they were trying to do there worked very well. However, it is not as crazy as I think it can go. I think it can be even crazier instrumentally. And I wish that they would go to higher lengths to be crazy, like on the last track. But this is still a great track. I really felt like it worked. And it's probably an 8, 7 or 8. So let's keep it moving. Next track, Mary Turner, Mary Turner. Let's see.
She's captured at Folsom Bridge. Gasoline and motor oil smeared on her clothes. She is hung up by her ankles from the tree. A mattress strapped and she's set away.
I feel like on a lot of these tracks, they have some very interesting and cool instrumental ideas that aren't fully realized on this record because this group would rather make music that sounds like a 6-year-old played with a drum machine with instead of making a structured song that is good to listen to. And if this is what they were going for, that's fine. That will turn a lot of people off on it. And that's fine. Clearly, they have found an audience that understands and enjoys this type of music. And that's okay. I'm not sure if it's my thing, but I would much rather them do regular music. Yes, this is not regular music. I don't know what I would classify this as. But I do really like some of the instrumental things that are going on. They're so interesting, in fact, that I'm not sure what they are, really. I can't tell if it's percussion or if it's bass, guitar. I'm not sure. But I really like it. It just feels very out of place. Let's keep going. I feel like a good example of an artist that takes very interesting instrumental ideas and turns them into great and listenable songs is JPEG Mafia. Now, it feels very wrong to compare this to JPEG Mafia because they clearly make two very different styles of music. But JPEG Mafia makes very listenable, although sometimes weird. A lot of people are turned off by JPEG Mafia's music. But his songs are listenable to the average person, I think. If you played this in the car, and that is absolutely not the place to be playing this song, this is like 2 a.m. in your bed type music with the lights off. But that's just not going to happen. You're not going to play this type of music for your friends, anybody. But I feel like it would be much more enjoyable if you could. Not all music has to be like that, but I'm just not going to enjoy it as much, if that makes sense. Let's just keep going.
The flame is a flame, all its mothers burning, burning. Reaching out, the first and only loving touch it receives. The falling ash of its smoke. Buried where they were murdered. Their cigars stuffed in a whiskey jug. A whiskey jug to bark the crew. Fuck your guns. Fuck your war. Fuck your truck. Fuck your flag.
Alright. We got 2 tracks left here. Next one is called Scissors. Overall, this track I thought was alright. I don't think it was as good as the last 2. I do think that there are some interesting sounds on it, though. That being said, the sounds are not placed in a way that is enjoyable in most situations. Taking it for what it's worth and for what I believe that they were going for, I think it gets the job done. I'm not sure if I enjoyed it very much, but in this album, I think it works. Unfortunately. It pains me to say that. But it works. It continues the eerie vibe throughout, and I've come to the conclusion that there is no story behind this album at all, and that it's just here to create an eerie vibe and just be as weird as possible. And if that's what they were going for, they nailed it. So, Scissors. Second to last track. Multiple times on this album, I feel like there's a short span of maybe like 5 or 10 seconds that I'm really feeling, and then they stop to switch up to something else that's much less appealing. And I wish that they'd keep, well, I mean, obviously, I would like for them to keep up with the part that I liked, but they don't. And the amount of switches here makes it feel all over the place. And um that's just not what I'm looking for in music. It just doesn't feel coherent at all. And yeah, it's just very all over the place. And as soon as I hear something that I like, it's gone. And that really takes the enjoyment away from me a little bit. And especially for ambient music like this, the amount of changes and switch ups makes it very hard for it to be what ambient music usually is, which is consistent and calming, and this is anything but calming, especially with the amount of switch ups in this song and all the other tracks for that matter. So, let's keep going. I know this is on purpose, but the mixing is terrible. It sounds like the vocalist Mike is peaking on every single word that he says. And that really takes away from the instrumental for me, because all I can focus on is the fact that the mic is peaking on every single syllable. And I know that the experimental factor of the mixing being terrible is there. Take, for example, I've already mentioned JPEG Mafia's most recent album. Everyone complained about the mixing. I didn't have a problem with it. I do here, however, because I feel that it really takes away from the instrumental. While on JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown's record, I feel like it did not. If anything, I felt like the terrible mixing added to it, because that whole album was created on a very old drum pad. It felt very, I wouldn't say vintage, but something close to that word, and experimental. However, this album feels very experimental in a negative way, as it sounds like it's trying way too hard to be experimental by having this terrible mixing. And it would be a very easy fix to just have cleaner vocals and not take away from the instrumental as it is here. the end part there legitimately sounded like me whenever I find a drum set. Just, I don't know how to play the drums. Just whack random drums. Whatever, it's fine. Anyway, I thought that this song overall was a step down from the previous couple tracks. I still think it's better than the first few tracks. That might be because I was still getting used to the sound. Sure. But I felt like the vocals on this song were ultra obnoxious from how horrible the mixing is. And now I know that's likely on purpose, and that's fine. But I don't like it that way. And yeah, the amount of switch ups is going to make me go insane. It's not very appealing to me. However, we could get a very strong close here and end it off with a bang. So, Normal Love. Final track of this album. Let's go. I do like the background vocals on this track.
Sprinkle over dust, spit out secrets of the songs. I don't cross anything. No, it's yeah. No, yes. No, why? I want to pretend. I can't pretend. Want me to speak. Want to think. You want to feel. I know you right.
The vocals in this part of the song are grating. It sounds like it's trying to be way more emotional than it truly is, which a lot of people say about emo-ish singers. Sleep Token, for example. A lot of people say that it sounds much bigger, or that it's trying to sound much bigger than it really is, or try to be more emotional, whatever. This sounds that way to me. I don't have a problem with Sleep Token's vocals. This, however, sounds like it is absolutely trying to way too hard to be emotional. It doesn't sound authentic at all, and it's nails on a chalkboard. Yeah. Okay. Let's finish up this album. Okay, the album's finished. Thoughts on Normal Love. I thought that the piano instrumental was extremely calming and well produced. However, the vocals, like I said earlier, feel very exaggerated and fake. This whole album has sounded like a man who has broken out of a psych ward got on the worst mic possible and just started shouting gibberish. This track tried to be the most emotional of them all and failed miserably at doing so. I feel like the contradiction between the peaceful piano and the shouty vocals just doesn't work at all in trying to convey emotion. In fact, it does the exact opposite. It makes me feel nothing. I thought that that was a horrible closer for this album. When I thought that it was going up, I thought that this album was on the rise until the end, and it completely fell off. Completely. Now, overall thoughts. Take what I said at the beginning of this album with a grain of salt. I believe that I was not used to the sound yet and didn't know what was to come. I didn't know the overall vibe that this album was trying to achieve, and I thought over time I was able to grasp that more completely and be able to, I guess, appreciate it a little bit more than I originally thought that I would have. However, from what I heard about this album and all of the album of the year reviews that I read, this album was supposed to be crazy. Crazy. Was this album crazy? Yes and no. I'll explain. This album is not as crazy as I expected because it didn't feel like it was doing all that much at times. There were tracks that I felt were a bit stripped down, but there were tracks. Take Pumpkin Attack, for example. Pumpkin Attack. That was my favorite song on the album by far. By far. I felt like it was doing a lot and I felt like it had structure. However, I thought that this album was crazy because on most tracks, it sounds like an orangutan trying to create Good Kid Mad City. Not that this album sounds anything like Good Kid Mad City, just that it's trying to create a masterpiece. Okay? And it wasn't working. Maybe we'll give it a couple billion years and then this album will be Good Kid Mad City, but right now it is not. Okay? I thought that the instruments were oftentimes out of place or out of key. The vocals are very grating, the mixing is horrible, and the lyrics ramble about nonsense the entire album. However, the female vocalist, I thought, did a great job on this record for the background vocals in some of these tracks. I thought that they added a great deal to the songs. The male main vocalist, I assume, however, legitimately sounds like he broke out of a psych ward, but it sounds fake as everything. I felt like the emotion that was trying to be conveyed was very fake and not believable. So, I wish that this album was crazier, but I do think that there is some value here. There were a lot of instrumental ideas that I thought were very interesting, although not very fleshed out, and could have been done better with. I feel like if there were some coherent songs in here, there's potential to make coherent songs out of these elements. Absolutely. And I feel like that would have worked better for them instead of making this, which was just a collection of nonsense. Good nonsense, but nonsense nonetheless. So, favorite song absolutely is Pumpkin Attack. And there were a couple of tracks on here that I thought did a great job of just creating that eerie vibe. And I think that eerie vibe is the main appeal of this album, if nothing else. Yeah, because there is nothing else. It does a great job of getting very eerie. But I thought it was not executed as well as it could have. Did I enjoy this album overall? I'd say yes. I think I did. How much did I enjoy it? Probably not much. But I didn't not enjoy it, which is better than nothing. If I were to rate it, I'd probably give it a 5+. Probably 58, 59 on Album of the Year. We'll see. Follow my Album of the Year page, by the way. I'll put it in the description. Bradley, if you watch this, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks for recommending this album. I thought it was alright. I do have a lot of gripes about it, but everyone's a critic, right? So, thank you for watching.